welcome to another Gold Spring Reflections. Today, we're going to discuss airlines and mergers, acquisitions, and also share some other insights on the airline industry that we have learned as of late. So with that, I'm going to throw it on over to the team to talk about airline mergers and acquisitions.
Thanks very much, Cindy. Well, the first one that's on the map at the moment, on the face of it, it may appear to be less interest to the corporate buyer, is the situation with Spirit Airlines. Now, it may unfold that this isn't really much impact to the corporate buyer. So let me explain. Spirit Airlines is currently being courted for takeover, merger, and those are different terms. They don't mean vastly different things, by JetBlue and Frontier. Now, I think everybody would say that if Spirit merged with Frontier, then essentially that's just consolidation, two very similar like airlines, and becoming another airline. It's the JetBlue merger that has got everybody wondering what's going on here. So the first question people may be asking is, why on earth would JetBlue want to merge with Spirit Airlines? What kind of airline would that look like afterwards? And the thinking is that JetBlue are just really after pilots and planes, okay, to enable their growth. They may find themselves at the back of the line for certainly for aircraft, and they need that expanded fleet to grow. So that may, Spirit would just get sucked up into JetBlue, and JetBlue would have more resources to grow. So that's the part of the thinking there. The Frontier one, of course, is actually the desired partner for Spirit. That's what the board wants, because it is billed as a merger, and Spirit's management would still have a place in the new company. And therefore, the JetBlue offer has become somewhat of a hostile takeover. Clearly, JetBlue have delayed the offer 4 times already, because their shareholders, they feel, may be leaning towards the JetBlue side, or no merger at all. The shareholders are actually, they don't think there's enough shareholder support to have the vote go through. So they delayed the vote 4 times. And in fact, the Institutional Shareholder Services, just reading today, has changed its opinion at the moment. A few days ago, it was in favor of recommending the merger. Now it's recommended against. So there's going to be more support leakage for the Spirit merger. So on the face of it, the JetBlue offer is superior financially, but clearly Spirit didn't want it and have come out and raised concerns over. In fact, there's some ongoing litigation between JetBlue, with the JetBlue American partnership with DOJ. So they're saying that the merger wouldn't actually be approved on top of that. So it's very interesting to watch. I will just leave you with the words of ex-CEO Gordon Bethune, ex-CEO of Continental Airlines, who always has a right comment, and he likens it to 2 dogs chasing a bus, and he's not sure the one that catches the bus is necessarily the winner. So let's just wait and see on that one.
That's a great way to summarize that. Thanks, Neil. The same thing seems to be happening in Latin America. We've seen in the news Avianca and GOL are going to form a holding company to be able to control both carriers. So is this just a U.S. phenomenon? What does this mean in Latin America and the rest of the world?
No, I mean, mergers are not just a U.S. phenomenon. You could say it's easier in the US because the US is one country. So the first thing we have to look at is, when we do airline mergers, are there really multinational airlines out there? And there aren't. There are holding companies that own airlines in different companies, like the Air France group own Air France KLM. The International Airlines Group, forgot that for a moment, owns British Airways, Iberia, and Aer Lingus. The Lufthansa Group owns Lufthansa Airlines and most of the airlines in mainland Europe as well. So that's the way they've got around that. There are very little examples of actual multinational airlines. Can you think of one? I'll leave a pause there. My answer would be SAS is actually one airline that is indeed multinational. Another one would be LATAM. Okay, and LATAM is completing its consolidation, operating under one carrier code now, and the South American countries had to get together to allow this happen. The Latin American market, it was already pre-COVID far too fragmented, doesn't have the weight, doesn't have the volume to support all the airlines that we have down there. There are a lot of choices, right? So even on the northern side, you've got Aeromexico, but you've got the LATAM group as well. You've got GOL, you've got Azul. Which has a large market share in Europe. You've got Copa, you've got Avianca. So all these airlines are playing in that space, and it's far too many. So the fact that Avianca are talking to GOL and there's a potential merger on the horizon after the impacts of COVID, when Latin America was particularly hit hard with the levels of volume it has. All corporate buyers will know that from looking at the distribution by company by country of their programs, and it's so after COVID, it is no surprise at all that Latin America would go and undergo some consolidation in its airlines industry, and much needed.